Dr. Sam Rosenfeld is on with us right now. Good morning, Doc, and thanks for coming on. I'm surprised at the results.
I'm underslept and in a lot of shock, so that's fair warning ahead of time for this conversation.
I think we're all there. So we're jacked up on caffeine, and we just plow forward. So, I guess the polls weren't off that much. They just, I think people thought the establishment, Hillary Clinton, the Democrats would be able to get just enough out to win, and it looks like now she's ahead in the popular vote. But once again, for the second time since 2000, we may have a president that did not get the popular vote.
That's right. As far as I can tell, again, stipulating that I might have missed new developments in the last hour or so as I was getting myself out of bed. But, as returns trickle in, particularly in places like California, you'll end up very possibly seeing a popular electoral college vote split. The disadvantage that Clinton was facing in swing state polling relative to national polling was something that people had identified ahead of time. What nobody identified was the degree to which a systematic undercount of Trump's chances would actually put her electoral college victory in danger. But it is the case that because she was doing better among populations like Hispanics and college-educated voters, those voters, she could run the table up in a lot of safe states, both safe red states and blue states, in a way that in the swing states, the distribution of voters didn't help her in that way.
There seemed to be a split between, and it was brought up, I mean, remember how many times did we hear, well, people who have never gone to college support Trump, those who've gone to college don't support Trump. There did seem to be a split between the establishment, those that are highly educated, versus the rest of America. Do you agree with that?
Well, I'll say this. The turnout among, in rural counties, among non-college educated white voters, among the core Trump constituents, was stunning and shocked everybody. And it helps to swamp the very impressive gains made by Clinton among Hispanic populations in some of these states where some of the swing states. On the other side, though, it does not seem to be the case that it certainly wasn't matched Clinton's advantages in traditional Republican voters among educated whites. She did okay with them, but I think one of the overall stories that we're seeing right now is, on the one hand, Trump really did bring out new voters for Republicans, more casual or typically non-voters among non-college educated whites. And beyond that, Republicans, by the end of the campaign, had returned to the fold by and large. And so you didn't see a huge kind of never Trump vote either staying home or switching their votes to Clinton. Most of them ended up turning out for Trump as well.
Okay, one thing that I think, despite the fact that we're looking at a Republican president, House and Senate Republican, the Senate does not have the margin it would need in order to prevent maybe the getting rid of Obamacare, overturning gay marriage, or that we have to go to the Supreme Court. It still is going to be. I mean, the Senate will still have a chance to. The Democrats will still have a chance to play a role in all of this.
Well, here's my first prediction that I can be clear about and might be proved wrong yet again. But I don't think the filibuster is long for this world, not only on judicial nominations and certainly on Supreme Court nominations, but on legislation, period. I think the precedent set by the nuclear option getting rid of the filibuster for certain sets of votes on executive nominations and appointments and judicial nominations below the Supreme Court that Democrats put forth during the Obama years, I think sooner rather than later, if Republicans have legislative items that are important to them, now what that might be is going to be the key question, but I think the overwhelming logic of going ahead and getting rid of the ability of a minority to obstruct the Senate's ability to pass something that House majorities and the president wants is going to lead to the filibuster getting rid of, which is to say, I think sooner rather than later, the Democrats really won't have an ability to stop a Republican agenda from being implemented.
Let me ask you: do you repeal Obamacare? How do you do that? It's really already ingrained so much into the system right now.
Exactly. So this becomes the major question. I don't think there's going to be institutional obstacles to things like Obamacare finally getting repealed. Massive. If you look at the Better Way agenda of the House Republicans that Ryan had been running on, which didn't get any attention this year because everyone was paying attention to Trump, there is radical cuts to social services and domestic spending and discretionary spending that will impact millions of people. The question becomes, do Republicans internally have the interest and unity to pursue the policies that on paper they are committed to pursuing, right, which would include rolling back Obamacare, which would actually take away health insurance from 22 million people who currently have it without any kind of alternative being proposed at the time. It's really going to put to the test the degree to which Republicans are ready to kind of put their money where their mouth is in terms of the commitments they've made on the campaign trail and in the opposition.
Rudy Giuliani last night said he compared this to biggest upset since Andrew Jackson. So, you're a historian. What do you think?
Well, at this point, anyone who wants to use any kind of historic hyperbole, I'm not going to object. I mean, I think the obvious, in terms of the shock related to polling,
Dewey comes to mind, right?
Is Dewey defeats Truman. Needless to say, that was an era of much more rudimentary polling techniques, and they were polling less than we saw this right around now. Yeah. I genuinely don't think I can't think of a more recent precedent for something as systematically unpredicted by all public and I think internal evidence of campaign zone polling. Nobody saw this coming, and it's genuinely is unprecedented. And I do think the comparison, it's hard to think of a comparison of the potential for as drastic a shift in the policies and laws that are going to come out of this new regime compared to the previous regime. Again, I can't think of a flip. You could think of John Quincy Adams and Andrew Jackson. I think that's plausible enough, but it's hard to think of just how sort of pivotal what happened last night is going to be for years to come.
And I do wonder, which Donald Trump do we get? I sometimes I really believe that he just says things that he knows he's going to get the applause. He's going to get everybody riled up. Socially, when it comes to religion, social issues, and even his own politics. I wonder if Donald Trump, this is really the Donald Trump that we're going to get, what we saw in the last 6, 8, 10 months.
Again, it is an extraordinary gamble. You have the questions about what Donald Trump as a person, as a temperament, is going to look like given the power that he has just been handed and a Republican majority in Congress that he's going to be enjoying. On the flip side, there is now a set of sort of collective action tasks facing Republicans in power, and how, if anything, liberals, Democrats might hope for a little bit of that petty, retribution-focused Donald Trump to interfere with his ability to kind of get a bunch of Republican legislation passed as a well-oiled machine. If he spends most of his time taking on people like Paul Ryan and Marco Rubio and sowing a lot of internal divisions in his congressional majorities, that might, monkey with his ability or Republicans' ability to pass everything they want. But on the other hand, you could just see a perfectly kind of smooth marriage of Paul Ryan getting his agenda on fiscal policy, on taxes, on changes to domestic discretionary spending, et cetera, passed and signed by Donald Trump, while Donald Trump focuses on his agenda related to immigration and trade and the
Yeah.
issues that have animated his campaign.
Dr. Sam Rosenfeld from Hamilton College on right now. Manaski.
I just wanted to follow up. We talked about the popular vote and the Electoral College, which some thought Trump would win the popular and lose the electoral. As we sit here this morning with 97% of districts reporting, it is Hillary Clinton with an advantage of, and again, this is a small, 135,000 basically. I'm rounding up, 135,000 more on the popular vote end. If you look at it a percentage, they're both 48%. It's that close, but if you went vote by vote, she has more as we sit here this morning.
Boy, does that show you a split America, huh?
A very, very split America.
Yeah.
I mean, and that and $1.50 will get you a cup of coffee for Democrats, but it's at least to the extent you have millions of people in a genuine state of shock right now and fear about what's happening. One can at least take solace that this is remains a country that's completely divided on these issues. And a potential majority out there for a much different vision of American policy.
Last question I want to throw at you. Obama had control of Congress in 2008. Obamacare, gays, the gay marriage issue, gender bathrooms, all of these social changes. Did he try to do too much? And this is pushback. That's my theory on the whole thing. What do you think?
It's possible. We are in an era of stark party polarization. Presidents that means the parties stand for very different things. When a president gets into power in a period of unified government control, they have a lot of incentives to pursue ambitions that their party constituencies want, and that generates a reaction that compounds with just the normal flux pendulum swings of national support, where typically the out party does better in midterms, et cetera. I can't fathom what Obama is thinking right now about his long-term legacy. He has presided over, as you just listed, a really striking array of policy changes over the course of his 8 years. At the same time, he has presided over the utter decimation of Democratic Party power at the state, local, and now national level in a way that now that he's leaving with a regime that's going to follow him that has it in their capacity to completely roll back every achievement he's made.
Dr. Sam Rosenfeld, Hamilton College, thank you so much for taking the time this morning. And I know everybody was up late, so thanks a lot for coming on.
Thanks very much.
All right.